Hey friends, my name is Jake. Welcome to Canadian Cutting Edge, and we've got a fixed blade for you. I'm recording this on Friday, so it is a fixed blade Friday. I'm sure this video won't be edited until Saturday and posted then, but here we go. This is the TwoSun TS350 with a bone handle. 14C28N stainless steel. This is one of the newer TwoSuns that actually has the model number on the blade. I like that. We've got a leather sheath. A nice burgundy dye on this leather sheath. Belt loop up here. I'll give you close-ups of everything when we get to the tabletop. And we're going to do that right now. It looks like the camera's picking this up as brown, but it really is a nice burgundy. It's close to a brown, but it's a deep burgundy. No drain hole or anything in here, just a welted sheath. TwoSun logo embossed right in there, stitched over, fold over. They've dyed everything, which I quite like. They didn't just leave this, the natural leather right there. So yeah, pretty well done. The sheath isn't anything special, but I didn't find any significant issues with the sheath at all. I like that it's got this kind of loop. You could add a dangle loop if you wanted to, and it doesn't hang too high up on the hip. So the sheath, pretty good. Here's the knife. We've got a vertical satin grind on there. The whole thing was stonewashed first, so the flats are stonewashed, the spine is stonewashed, in the handle it's all stonewashed. We just have the grind lines from that satin finish right there. It's got a slight drop right here. Not quite a straight back knife. Nice tip there. If you need to pierce into something, quite good. You've got a little bit of a protection here so that if it slams into something, you probably won't have your hand, slip over the top and cut yourself. But hey, you could do, so be careful because this is all nicely rounded. There's no jimping anywhere on this handle. The sharpener's choil here is huge, but it's just barely big enough. It ends just as the plunge ends. This knife isn't too terribly thin, but it's quite thin behind the grind and works really, really well. This works great as a secondary camp kitchen knife. This will do an awful lot of tasks around a campsite, or maybe you just want it as an ODYSEE fixed blade, who knows. It'll do that. We've got the TwoSun logo up there. I wouldn't have minded if they would have put it up here on the flat on the ricasso, but at least it's nice and small there. And on this side, we've got the designer logo, TS350 14C28N, and that's all the badging that's on it. Now, I'm getting fingerprints all over the place because that's just what happens on satin finishes. It's the main reason I like stonewash a whole lot better because, my fingerprints just are everywhere. I just can't help it. Now, we've got this bone section here. You can see that there's two holes drilled through the steel right there, so somehow they've attached these. Now, these are attached. They're not designed to come off. I'm sure that they use some kind of adhesive or something. These bone pieces they're permanently put on there. And then at the end of the handle, we've got that milled out flourish. Looks kind of cool. Over here, they've got that leather cordage kind of thing with a brass bead right there tied off inside there. And that's exactly how it came from the package. That's what you get. Everything else, a rounded edge all over the whole handle and very smooth to the touch, quite comfortable. The steel's fairly thick and you get most of the thickness to about right here, and that's where it starts tapering down to the tip. And the tip is actually quite strong. I did my test, where I slammed the knife into a 2x4 and then tried to pry it out, and the tip survived perfectly. So that's good. I did all kinds of other cut tests with this, and it performed quite well. It's very sharp from the factory and nice and thin. The grind angles, they're good. They're better than most, but they're not perfect either, but they're quite good. So it's good for slicing, it's good for cutting, it's pretty good for piercing as long as you can trust this little bit right here, and your grip so that you're not going to have your hand come over it. So you decide what you're going to use your knife for, of course. Let's go over all the sizes, dimensions on this thing. The weight of the knife is 93 grams, which is 3.28 ounces. The sheath is 47 grams, which is 1.65 ounces. Together, it's 140 grams, 4.94 ounces. So less than 5 ounces for the whole thing. That's not an awful lot of weight. The sharpness of this edge from the factory, measured in 3 places, averaged out 90 bests. That's very good. The length of the cutting edge, 99 millimeters, 3.9 inches. Blade length from the tip to the bone on the handle, that is 99.5 millimeters, 3.92 inches. The thickness of the blade, 3.66 millimeters, 0.144 of an inch, so a good bit over 1/8 of an inch thick there. The blade depth, its biggest right where my fingers are, 25.2 millimeters, 0.99 of an inch. How thick is it behind the grind? Again, measured in 3 spots and averaged 0.38 millimeters, 15 thousandths of an inch thin. So that's very good. The grind angles. This side's got an average of 18.1. This side's 17.7 degrees. This side's the worst side. At the heel, it's 19.8 degrees. Near the tip, it's 15.7 degrees. 4.1 degrees of change along there, but like I said, 17.7 degrees average. This side started at 18.4, ended at 17.8, so that's 0.6 degrees of change. So this side sharpened quite well. Both sides, the average is right around 18 degrees per side, which is what I would do on this knife. So it's pretty good from the factory, at least compared to what most other knives come in as. Knives that I review are usually sharpened even worse than this. So this is actually done quite well. Now for the handle length. This time I measured it from the beginning of the bone to the very end of the handle, 112.6 millimeters, 4.43 inches. The thickness of this handle, 11.76 millimeters, 0.463 of an inch. The depth of the handle within the grip area, its widest right here, 22.9 degrees. Why do I say degrees on that all the time? I just say degrees. 22.9 millimeters, which is 0.9 inches. And then the grip area, it's about 9.5 centimeters, about 3 3/4 inches. The total length of this knife, from the tip to the very end of the handle, 212 millimeters, 8.35 inches. Haven't talked yet about how much this knife costs. $59.99 at White Mountain Knives, but they are out of stock right now. So you're going to have to go to that website for them, and there's going to be an orange button that says notify me. You put your email address in just above it, you hit that button, and you'll get an email when it's back in stock. The only other place I could find this knife listed is on eBay, and they're out of stock as well. And you can't save 10% at eBay like you can at White Mountain Knives. This knife is not easy to find. I couldn't find any listing for this knife that told me who the designer is either. I should know it. I think I've seen that logo before. I just can't remember who that is. So I need your help to tell me who the designer is of this knife. I kind of like it. Now, I didn't show you this part yet, did I? There you go. It goes in the sheath quite nicely, mostly in there. I'll put my thumb right there. So right there, that little bit is sticking out and all the rest of it is inside the sheath. So it's quite secure that way. Nice friction fit. It's not coming loose in there. I'm quite happy with it. It looks a lot like a steak knife, and it's quite useful. I'm not sure if I'm going to be keeping this lanyard in there. It seems to annoy me more than anything. I don't really need a lanyard, but I think I'm going to be keeping this knife. If you'd like to support the channel, patreon.com/CCE is the place to start, or click that join button right down here. If you're on a mobile device or on a computer, that's the place right there to click on that. Hit the join button in blue and just follow the prompts, and you can support the channel as well. And every month, one of you guys or gals will win a knife of your choice from all the knives that are reviewed in the previous month. Well, not necessarily all. Like this one's probably going to be held back, but we'll see. Most of the knives. You get to choose from most of the knives I reviewed in the previous month. So there you go. The TS350, $59.99, take off 10%. That's what I was talking about. That's $53.99. So 54 American dollars, right around 70 Canadian dollars for this knife. Yes, if you're in Canada and you order this knife from White Mountain Knives, it will get through no problem. It's a fixed blade that will have zero issues crossing the border. There's a tiny chance that you might have to pay duty, but that's a very tiny chance. It's very, very rare that I ever have to pay duty on any knives that I import, because I usually import less than $200 worth at a time, so that works just fine. So this was a little bit shorter video than usual. It's not like a folding knife that's got lots of different characteristics and things to look at. It's a simple, nice fixed blade knife that really works well. So thank you so much for watching. Thanks for liking, sharing, commenting, and subscribing. Please do those things. It really does help, especially the commenting, hopefully sharing too, but commenting and liking, hitting that like button, it takes you 1/10 of a second, but it really does help me out. So I appreciate it when you do that. And remember, always cut towards your chum, not your thumb.